they're suing Little League International, and they believe that Little League International wasn't straight with them throughout the whole process. And they brought up instances such as they're supposed to check the kids' paperwork and everything else before each game, and they also discussed about how they discovered that someone was writing down the license plates of the parents of the kids while they were at games, and they also were saying that they got the state police and the state attorney general's office involved to cover the case. So they, at the press conference, they did give out a 97-page report of their findings.
Interesting. So, okay. Well, first of all, there's nothing new about this because, at least some of what you said, we knew that they planned on taking legal action because they had said that once the title had been stripped, they got an attorney who pretty much made it clear that they were going to pursue some form of legal action. So that's not new. Two, we knew when this whole thing rolled out, especially with the situation at Evergreen Park, that they had written down license plates. We knew that was part of what kind of irritated people, that people felt like they were waiting to take them down. So that we knew. So besides those two things, the paperwork thing can be odd, because if I got to check your paperwork before every game, the game may never happen because I got to fact check. And that's insane to me. So to me, Evan, it doesn't sound like they said anything that was, as I said, I needed succulent information.
I knew it.
And I didn't feel like, was there anything else they said?
Well, they were basically saying, like, throughout the whole process, they did that once they were told that, hey, we're going to look into this, that Little League didn't contacted with them at all, and their attorney, Victor Henderson, did all the speaking any questions we wanted to ask. We had to go through him, and that's a thing that shows that how much of a brand they are. I know it's crazy when people have to say this, but just like you have Notre Dame football, Duke basketball. Yeah, Becky Rounds to West Baseball, and they're a brand now, and they can control the message, and they control the message now. That I wrinkled a lot of us in the journalism field because they actually had a reporter, Mark Carnival from DNA Info, who this week broke the story.
Yes.
He was there, and he was escorted out of the building.
They actually had him escorted out the building?
Yep.
Now, that's interesting because I actually had talked with Mark Conkle in the Sports Cipher. And when he wrote the article, he gave the timeline. And honestly, when I read the article, Evan, I didn't see a sense of bias to it. All he did was he actually contacted Little League, International, asked questions, asked for documentation, put together a timeline. It's really funny that they didn't want him in the building because he wasn't trying to demonize them. He was, as a reporter, he did exactly what you were supposed to do, was fact checking.
His job.
So I know they came up with a 97-page report, which I would love to read because I don't see anything new here that lends to the point of still sounding like, we've been victimized. But from what you've just said to me, I haven't heard anything new that changes the course of action that Little League International took. And they do have a right to sue. So unless they're hiding what the juicy stuff is,
right?
I think it's keeping on the radar with people.
Yeah, I feel like the process for them wasn't as consistent as it been in the past, but as we know with youth sports, the Little League sports, and the team that was very popular during their run, sometimes the lines get blurred. So that's basically what their whole thing was. That once they were approached that, hey, this is what we heard, we're going to look into this. So they believe that Little League wasn't upfront with them through the whole process. And the lawyers stated that many of the family members and the team, found out through the media. And also they said that Little League didn't give them a heads up. Right?
Well, yeah, that was true. And every
time they got to contact them, they said only contacted them twice, and that was through a lawyer.
And actually, when they decided to strip them of the title, that was one of the gripes most people had, is that they didn't bother to contact JRW, the families first, to kind of give them the news so they could break it to the kids, how it was delivered. Yes. So once again, it's not like they've said anything to me that's new. What was interesting and what I thought was a nail in the coffin when this happened was that when Little League International came into Chicago, which was the end of January, to do their investigation, they talked with other individuals that were part of the league locally that JRW was part of.
Yes.
And actually, Evan, that actually kind of came across as more of their undoing than what was coming out of what happened at Evergreen Park, which that guy is considered to be the mole. His name Chris. It'll come to me.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, that he was looked at to be the mole, but what people don't realize was the nail in the coffin is when they sat down and talked to the other team managers, as well as when they investigated the guy who was over the entire region and how things were handled, as if he was actually in cahoots with JRW with changing the boundaries. So to me, what I was hoping you were going to call in and tell me is that they were about to lay down some information about how things happened, how they pursued doing the boundary change, but it seems to me they just rehashed a lot of old information that doesn't make a difference to me, that I'm trying to figure out from what you just said, how that changes the outcomes. I don't see nothing changing.
It doesn't at all.
Well,
they believe that they believe that it was the wrongdoing on Little League's part, but they also admitted that the wrongdoing was the wrongdoing on their part in terms of the boundaries, and they weren't really clear on what boundaries were used, which was kind of weird because that was under the assumption that the boundaries were set and everyone abided by those.
So
it was strange to me as well.
So they were saying that they were unclear on what the boundaries were. So how can you sue now?
Stop, Felicia.
Right.
Stop that. They knew what the boundaries were. I get irritated when people do stuff like that. They knew what the boundaries were. So, I mean, at least it's good to hear there's a little accountability because up until this point, there had been no real accountability that maybe, okay, kind of, sort of, we might have did something wrong. But up front, we all know that they have a beef or an issue with Little League International and how they handled it. So, to me, it's not new news. It's just, I think, trying to stay in front of people. And to me, you only call a press conference. I wish I could have been there. I wish it would have been tomorrow. But the only call a press conference when you have something relevant and different to say that, to me, champions your cause. And I don't hear anything championing the cause to get the title back right now. I hear a lot of hooing and hawing and still trying to play the victim role. And the victims are the kids. That's who the victim is in this case. The adults who made poor choices, I'm still mad. It's the kids that are the victims. So, Evan,
I love to hear from them. I love to hear from them. I think we all would have loved to hear from them because we pretty much have heard from everyone else, but them and separate statements being released, and I think that's what people would like to know.
Well, I'm hoping, I didn't like the way they kind of paraded the kids out when it happened. None of them were involved in this press conference, right? Have they been allowed to heal and move forward? None of them were involved in this, correct?
The children.
Yeah, everyone was there. The team, parents, dignitaries, Father Slater, Stone the third, people like that.
It's called posturing.
All there.
It's posturing is what it is. I want them to leave these kids alone. Let the adults pursue these legal matters, and the kids need to be allowed. Here's what I'm saying. You've now rehashed it. You've now opened up old wounds that they're trying to get past.
For absolutely no reason.
So my thing is, you didn't come out and give me anything fresh and new and succulent, like I said. So now these kids have to keep reliving this.
Right.
Can they not get past it? So to me, another waste of time that doesn't solve anything. All right, Evan, will you be good enough to keep us in the loop as this unfolds?
We appreciate
on
it.
the show?
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
All right, Evan, have a good one. We appreciate you reporting for us.
Yes, thanks.
That is Evan F. Moore, who is a sports writer. He writes for the Daily Herald, the Red Eye, all kinds of different sports publications. There was an impromptu press conference called by JRWS, their legal team, as well as any key officials, allegedly to give new information in regards to them being stripped of the title back in February by Little League International. What did I say? Tasty, succulent, nothing.
I told you. I was like, because we're all excited, I was like, it's breaking news that wasn't so breaking. We're going to be disappointed.
So now, here's all I see. Rehashing information. You had 97. How'd you come up with 97 pages? Anyway, so 97-page report of findings, of course, going to be from your perspective. They didn't release any new information. I'm going to tell you something about Mark Kunkel from DNA Info Chicago. Mm-hmm. I had him on the Sports Cipher, and I posted his article to our Facebook page, and I said, read it. I said, because what he didn't do was demonize anybody in this. All he did is what good reporters do. He went searching for answers and fast reportings. He didn't support Chris Davis from Evergreen Park. He didn't support Little League, International. He called them, asked questions like, wait a minute, how are they wrong on boundary things? What's your explanation behind this? And eventually gave him some information, but then they shut him down. So when you read his article, what he did was put together a timeline of how things happened. And for them to feel like that he demonized them, because all it did was reveal there was actually a wrongdoing on their part,
which they actually admitted today.
Which they finally
admitted.
They finally came forward and said.
So I wonder why, and they had him escorted out of the building. Like that's
you know what? See, I think that's what happens to good reporters when you just come out and report. No, I'm serious. I think when you tell the truth, people get upset because you've exposed them, and the timeline was immaculate. I mean, it was done really, really well. The thing was, there was plenty of times to rehash the boundary thing well before the title got stripped.
Right.
That was the thing. So it's unfortunate they treated Mark that way because he wasn't against them. He was like, this is unfortunate, but he's like, the reason that Little League International went this route was because of all these things that happened. And all he did was string out the timeline and who was involved and key points. That's all he did.
I don't understand what's so hard about taking accountability and moving on and just letting it go. What's so hard about it? Because the more you shuffle and skate and skirt around the issue, the truth is still there and people are going to find it out. Why don't you just say, our bad, we're wrong, and move on, let the title go, it's not yours anymore, and shoot for next year.
And I know you don't like it, and of course there's always the old fallback. We're not the only people that look, but you got caught.
You got caught.
I'm going to tell you something.
Did you not learn anything from Milli Vanilli? Did we not learn anything from Milli Vanilli?
Wait, and Black Box, it gets mad every time you mention Martha Wash. But anyways, one thing I learned as a kid is my parents told me, like, look, don't do something and think you won't get caught and then you think you're going to be able to deflect to somebody else. Because what you'll find is most of the time, you will be by yourself and they will hold you accountable. So be mindful who you keep company with and what situations you align yourself with. And that's just a fact. Yes. The adults were wrong on this. And I'm kind of like annoyed that people want to keep standing behind this. Yes, the kids suffered and that's what breaks my heart.
Yes, it does.
They
didn't deserve, because they played their hearts out.
They did.
And they deserve it. However, there are rules and regulations that you must abide by.
Forget those rules.
What do you mean?
Forget rules. Because what's the point of having rules in this world? We should just all run amok. Let's just all run amok. We already run amok as it is. So if it gets any more amok, I don't know where we're going to be.
But this is what I mean. So just say the adults in this situation didn't abide by the rules and regulations that was set forth. And unfortunately, yes, everyone hates that the children were victims in that, but that's what happens when adults are.
Did you just say children's? You put S on that?
No.
You know I got you. I was like, children?
No, I said the children.
And by the way, and you can give me too. Anytime I mess up, like, Maya, did you just say?
I swear I didn't say children.
Podcast.
I am going to watch the tape because I said, unfortunately, the children were.
You said children.
I did not. Call in right now. 708-223-0030 if you heard me say children.
I heard you. I'm right next to you. Rob, what'd she say? Didn't she say children?
No, I would never say children.
No. Anyways.
But unfortunately, the children were. I said the children were.
And here's the thing. Here's what bothers me. Once again, these kids who are trying to get past this.
They should. They drug them out to the press conference.
It's now time for baseball season, and then originally they had threatened to leave the Little League organization, which they can. They can do that and join something else. They need to get past this so they can move on. One of the most amazing moments in their life has been tarnished by poor decision by adults. Yeah. As usual, we're always ruining something.
Of course.
But you're going to drag them out again?
This is what I'm saying.
In front of a media circus? For what?
For no reason.
Only rehash what we already knew? Now, see, now I'm mad.
Yeah.
See, now I'm mad. I'm saying it. Maya's not okay with this because you didn't say anything new. You didn't step on that stage and say something that was so groundbreaking. Right. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, Little League, you're going to overturn that because of this, and this. Because I don't think they have
And that's the only way you should bring children. Like, kids, I got some good news for you. That's the only way you should bring them out. Why keep doing this? Just take accountability for what you did. Let it be over and let them move on.
Yes. Everybody knew that they were going to have a legal battle with Little League International. Everyone knew that. So we wait for it to come. Your findings could have been rolled out in court. The outcome comes out, and they do a press conference. To do a press conference, have a bunch of community leaders posturing behind you, doesn't change the fact that, guess what? You still don't have a title.
Map.
That too. And you still don't have your title.
Right.
So all this is for naught. Oh, goodness.
We are fired up.
I'm fired up.
I know. I'm fired up.
All right. So thank you, F Moore. He'll keep us in the loop on that. I'm going to reach out to Mark Conkle. I'm a little salty about that because I'm actually going to find that article and post it because I don't think he did anything wrong. He did what good reporters do, but unfortunately that comes with consequences when you're honest. Like, I'm sure I say stuff that piss people off all the time. Yeah. I said, but if I'm just going to sit here and say what you want me to say, how do we get anywhere? How do we have real conversations if we're sugarcoating everything?
Can't.
Wrong is wrong.
It is.
And you know what? If I get caught in the act, I accept my punishment. I mean,
like if I said children's, I'm gonna say it on Friday. I'm like, my bad.
I said children's. No. All right, so let's get back on track.
All right.
Thank you to Rob G for that midday mix.
Yes,
hopefully he helped you get back into the groove because I think we might have weighed you guys heavy at lunchtime. We just went.
That was Maya.
I did. I just get angry with people. I do. You know how I feel about people.
Yes, I know.
I don't care for them. This is a world full of cats would be perfect. That sounds nuts. Anyways, they have attitudes too, so scratch that thought.
Right.
Too many cats in the world would be a problem too. All right, so we're going to go on to Word of the Day. And this is a segment that we created, probably when we were putting together the show, because we created it for two different reasons. One, I'm constantly being accused by people of trying to use my very expansive vocabulary because I'm trying to, I guess, show that I'm smart.